NIO stock showing the world the strength and potential of its bulls with just momentous price action to the upside over the last trading sessions, you guys. We have seen a rise from this low to this high right over here of about 27% to the upside, you guys, over just a few sessions. We did face a pullback, however, but what does that mean for NIO stock to the coming sessions, you guys? Let's go ahead and find out in this video. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with a NIO stock technicals and statistical thread of analysis, excuse me. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading group in Discord, ARCa. With that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the charts, you guys. We are looking at NIO on the 4-hour chart right over here, you guys, and we can see a massive pump to the upside. You guys, so this is the ascending channel that we actually talked about a few days ago. And I mentioned to you that usually when we have this wave of direction, it signals institutions and professional traders alike that there is a potential A, B, C, D strategy in play, and that's exactly what we've been seeing. So, yes, we can make an adjustment to our strategy that it can, it's going to look ugly like this right over here, you guys, but it is what it is essentially. So let's go ahead and just make actually an overall adjustment to the ABCD strategy, you guys, as this is something for all of us to be able to keep track of. So we're going to do A, B, and this would essentially be C right over here, and the next take profit would be implied to be right over here if we can align the ABCD strategy structure well. It could potentially be right at about $13.40 if not rejected at the resistance line of the ascending channel, you guys. So there is that potential. We can actually see with a Fibonacci retracement tool to see if we have any confluent targets within that. So let's go ahead and just make sure that we can click it, you guys, and we'll take it from that swing high to the swing low of this candle right here. And wow, what do you know? So we do have a very important target that has direct confluence with the D take profit zone, you guys. We're going to draw a trend line right over there, and you can see that it's our golden mean, the golden ratio of 2.618 at about $13.57 that we can see a potential top of, you guys. But since we do have the channel resistance as well, you guys, and it is in confluence with, let's see, yeah, it does have some confluence with the 2 fib at $12.86. This gives us resistance range for us to evaluate. We can actually draw a box like this right over here, you guys, and that can show us the potential areas for take profit. You can see take profit at the 2 fib, 1286. Another potential take profit at 1317 and possible 1357, which is very likely since it is the 2.618. You guys, now the 2.618, you can see that also, for example, these candles right here facing wick lows and wick highs right at it, using support and resistance levels within that. Now, if we look back, you can also see some very, very interesting price action within that line. You can see this candle right here wicking right at that line, you guys. We're using it as resistance, all kinds of supports right here. You can see this candle actually opening right at that line right as well, you guys. So this is likely a key resistance and an inflection point for the NIO stock asset, you guys. So we are definitely in play for the long positions. Right now the bulls are still maintaining their upside, you guys. So let's see if we're on the 4-hour chart, as long as we are able to maintain 4-hour minimum candle closure above the 0.618, I'm going to go ahead and draw a trend line right over here so that you can see that this candle from the session today, you guys, used the 0.618 inverse golden mean as a form of support before us continuing on to the upside. You can see the recovery, you guys. This was very good. This signals us potential continuation to the upside, you guys. Now, another thing that you can see is that on the after hours trading of the previous day, we actually came back and tested our gap from this range right over here between this candle and this candle. We used it as a form of support before a continuation to the upside. This is why I maintain the gap ranges that we close, you guys, because we usually use them as a form of resistance or support within the trade for the following sessions after closing them. So this is important to notice, you guys. So right now the bulls are still in control, and yeah, as long as we don't fall below the $11.26 range of the NOT 618 with a minimum candle closure of 4 hours below this range, we can continue seeing upside, you guys. So we need to continue printing closures above this range in order for us to continue the upside, you guys. So let's go ahead and move on to the next chart and see what we have. This is a very important chart to look at, you guys. I know it's a macro time frame. This is the weekly time frame for NIO stock, but as you can see, price action also stopped today right at this level is because we're using the 7-day exponential moving average in the weekly chart as a form of support, resistance, sorry. And this is the line that we said we were going to touch back on that would be likely the implied path of the EMA 7, and it is thus far following that path, you guys. Usually when we're seeing, especially in a weekly closure, you guys, when we see these long wicks to the downside, that doesn't look good all the time, you guys. So the good thing is that we are printing a series right now of a higher low structure, which is very good. And you can now see that we are starting to print higher highs as well on weekly closures, which is very good. But we have to watch out when we do have these long wicks to the bottom, you guys, especially when we're at the top of a trend. This can usually signal a potential downside trend, you guys. But that is the weekly time frame. That would likely to take weeks and months in order for it to realize. Let's go ahead and move on to the next chart. This is the statistical side, which is the most important thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about within this video, you guys. So new listeners, what you are looking at here is volatility represented by this indicator, BBWP. In order for us to gauge a bias in direction, since volatility is direction neutral, we pair it with a stochastic momentum indicator or a momentum oscillator, similar to this one right here. It's very similar to an RSI. In my experience, back testing the stochastic momentum alone in different tickers, I've gotten a result of 75 to 90% accuracy in guessing the direction both to the upside and to the downside, you guys. So if we're talking about an average of just over 80%, it's not perfect, but it's very, very good to consider since the results are so close to 100. But let's go ahead and move on to why this is so important, what we're looking at here, you guys. So based on the entire trading history of the NIO stock in the 2-day chart, I did take the iterations from every time we started a contraction phase to the downside from critical expansive levels, which I consider to be anything above this red line right here, the 90 percentile. So I took I took note of the iteration every single time we reached that high level or above the 90 percentile, and the criteria was the duration of the iteration, the upside thrust versus the amount of times that we've gotten that guess based on volatility versus momentum profile incorrect to the downside versus the upside, you guys. So that gave us an averaged mean for us to evaluate. So now out of a total 5 iterations, we are looking at 4 correct and 1 incorrect. That gives us an upside accuracy of 80% with an averaged upside thrust of a massive 257.53% over the span of almost 3 months, you guys. So just over 2 months. So we're looking at about 2.5 months, right? So this is, I'm really talking about 80 days right here, you guys. So please know that I am. The average is kind of a long time, and this is proof of work, you guys. So, and also another thing to notice is that it is a statistical metric. It is not a certainty. We must keep that in mind, you guys. But this is the way I trade. I usually trade based on backtest, based on historical volatility or statistical volatility, you guys. This is the way I tend to make my trades, which is why you see in the header that I'm part discretionary, mostly systematic, is that this is a system-based set of rules that I use for my trading strategy, you guys. So now if we apply I'm sorry. Before we apply that metric, before we apply the upside to anything, you guys, please, the most important thing as well is that I am not a financial advisor. I can't actually advise for you to sell or buy any asset. Please take whatever I do show or iterate within these videos as a form of entertainment. And I need you to do your own DD and we'll be okay, right, you guys? Okay, so in order for us to apply this 257% metric to the upside, the criteria has to be met. And that criteria is both the volatility component and the spectrum line is the volatility component, and the spectrum line of the BBWP must be pivoted towards the downside and beyond the 90 percentile critical level, you guys, alongside, excuse me, you guys, alongside the stochastic momentum, signal line, and moving average pitch to the upside. And as you can see here, we have now officially started our contraction phase to the bottom and stochastics phase to the upside. Guys, this is good news. That means that our metric can actually be placed now. So let's go ahead and apply the 257% average to the price action, you guys. Based on the firing of the signal, which is right about here at the closure of this candle, opening of this candle, sorry, the red candle, we can see the thrust all the way in direct confluence with the 1.618. Very, very, very curious and very exciting, because this is usually where the trade and sentiment and psychology like to take the trade to, you guys. This is very important. We're looking at 37.53 as a top target for our, or 38.29 based on the 257% metric to the upside, you guys. So 250, so wow, man, yeah, that's incredible. 37, almost $38, you guys, is what we're looking at over the span of an average to 80 days. Please remember, now if we look back and just take a look at that blue line to see how relevant it is within price action, you can see that it definitely has absolute relevance. This candle right here, wick low, right at that target right here, you guys. You can see that we've used it as a form of resistance. You can see that we've used, look at these candles just touching those wicks right at it, you guys. We've used it as a form of support. We've used it as resistance here. This candle closure right at that line, you guys. This is very much a very confluent level, a previously touched and used support and resistance, and this is very likely to happen if we do have some momentous price action, you guys, which could be resolved with a positive catalyst in the midterm elections, you guys, the formal presidential announcement coming up on Tuesday. And now let's look at a small fib retracement, you guys. So for the coming sessions, for the immediate short term, let's go ahead and take a fib from the swing high, which would be this right over here, to the swing low, to this point right over here, you guys. So we do see that we have a small gap right in this area right here. So now the price action, we closed right over here, you guys. We're at about $11.56. We have a gap to be filled between 14.54 and 14.76, in which also lands at a golden mean. We have the 1.618 shorter time frame at $14.86, you guys. This is suggesting for us to clear that gap entirely. So this is very curious that we're looking at that as well, you guys. Very, very, very good things on the way for NIO stock. And you can see here as well, you guys, we drew this purple line as an implied path for the 200-day simple moving average, and you can see that it is since following our implied path. So we are looking very good, you guys. So I think this is a pretty good place for me to leave off the video, you guys. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on Twitter over on Discord. I'll make sure to leave the links in the description below. Also, for you to consider joining the trading community on Discord, ARCa. Okay, you guys, but with that said, I wish you a good night and a great weekend, and I will catch you at the bell on Monday. Adios.